The village of Umuahia was once known for its harmony. Families gathered in the evenings to share stories under the moonlight, and the marketplace buzzed with laughter and friendly chatter. But over time, things began to change. Disputes over land boundaries, lingering grudges from past conflicts, and distrust among neighbors fractured the close-knit community. Where there was once unity, there was now division. The elders, who once acted as peacemakers, found their voices drowned in the noise of disputes. Ayo, a young farmer, had lived in the village all his life. He had grown up hearing tales of how the village elders resolved conflicts with wisdom and fairness. But now he saw nothing but resentment in their eyes. Nika, the daughter of the village healer, had also noticed the shift. She had always dreamed of a peaceful home, but the constant tension weighed on her heart. The two had grown fond of each other over the years, sharing dreams of a brighter future. But their love seemed impossible in a village where bitterness thrived. One evening, as Ayo and Nika sat by the riverbank, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple, they spoke about their worries. Umuahia is not what it used to be, Nika said, her voice laced with sorrow. People are more divided than ever. Ayo sighed. If only there was a way to bring everyone back together. Little did they know, their love story would become the key to restoring harmony in Umuahia. But the road ahead would not be easy. Their love would be tested, and they would have to make difficult choices. Yet, in their hearts, they held on to the hope that love could heal even the deepest wounds. As the days passed, Ayo and Nika began to take notice of small moments of kindness within the village. An elderly woman sharing her last bowl of rice with a hungry child. A young boy helping his injured neighbor carry water. These acts, though rare, proved that compassion still existed among them. Determined to fan the flames of unity, Ayo and Nika devised a plan. They would organize a gathering by the riverbank, a place that once symbolized peace and community. It would not be easy. Many villagers refused to speak to one another, and convincing them to attend would take great effort. Nika's father, the village healer, was among the few who believed in their vision. People have forgotten what it means to come together as one, he said. Perhaps reminding them will rekindle the spirit of unity. With his support, the young couple set out to invite the villagers. Speaking of the importance of healing past wounds, some scoffed at the idea, but others, weary of conflict, agreed to attend. As the sun set on Umuahia, hope flickered once more. Could this gathering be the first step toward restoring harmony? On the day of the gathering, the riverbank shimmered under the golden rays of the sun. Ayo and Nika had worked tirelessly to prepare the space, arranging simple wooden benches and lighting small lanterns to create a warm and welcoming atmosphere. As the first villagers arrived, hesitant and wary, the tension in the air was thick. Some stood at a distance, their arms crossed in silent skepticism, while others whispered among themselves. It was clear that old wounds still lingered. Nika's father stepped forward and raised his hands for silence. We have gathered here today because we remember what this village used to be, a home of love and unity. It is time to rebuild what was lost. Let us listen to each other, share our pains, and find a way forward together. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, an elderly woman cleared her throat and spoke. I have carried bitterness in my heart for too long, she admitted. But I do not want to live the rest of my days with anger. Her words seemed to break the ice. One by one, others began to speak, sharing their own struggles and regrets. Ayo and Nika watched with hopeful hearts as the villagers took their first steps toward reconciliation. By the end of the evening, laughter and chatter filled the air. People who had once refused to speak shook hands. And for the first time in years, the village of Umuahia felt whole again. But the journey was far from over. More challenges lay ahead, and Ayo and Nika knew that their love and determination would be tested in ways they had never imagined. As the days passed, the newfound harmony in the village seemed fragile. While some villagers embraced reconciliation, others remained skeptical. Not everyone was ready to forgive, and old wounds still festered beneath the surface. Ayo and Nika noticed that a particular group of villagers, led by Chief Dyke, resisted change. He was a proud and influential man who had benefited from the divisions in Umuahia, using them to consolidate power. He saw the rekindling of unity as a threat to his control. "You are young and naive," Chief Dyke scoffed when Ayo approached him. "You think a few kind words and a gathering will erase years of hatred. Do not waste your time." His words planted a seed of doubt in Ayo's heart. What if he and Nika were fighting a losing battle? What if the village was beyond saving? That night, as they sat by the riverbank once again, Ayo voiced his concerns. What if Chief Dyke is right? What if this peace is only temporary? Nika took his hands in hers. "Change does not happen overnight, Ayo, but if we give up now, then we have already lost. We must keep believing. We must keep trying." Encouraged by her unwavering faith, Ayo resolved to press on. But Chief Dyke was not done. He would stop at nothing to keep the village divided, and soon his influence would put everything Ayo and Nika had worked for in jeopardy. Ayo and Nika knew they had to act fast. The village had taken its first steps toward healing, but Chief Dyke's influence threatened to unravel all their efforts. Determined not to let division take hold again, they sought guidance from the elders who had once kept peace in Umuahia. Elder Okafor, the wisest of them, listened intently. "True unity cannot be built in a single night," he said. "You must show the people through action, not just words. That love and togetherness are stronger than hatred." Inspired, Ayo and Nika decided to organize a communal farming day, where villagers would work together to rebuild neglected farmlands. At first, many hesitated. Chief Dyke whispered doubts into their ears, sowing fear and mistrust. But on the morning of the gathering, the sight of Ayo and Nika working, hand in hand in the field stirred something in the villagers. One by one, they joined in clearing weeds, planting seeds, and sharing laughter in a way they hadn't for years. Chief Dyke watched from a distance, his grip on the village weakening. Ayo and Nika had proven that love was a force stronger than fear, but he was not ready to give up yet, and a greater challenge was still to come. The success of the communal farming day ignited a renewed sense of unity in Umuahia. Villagers who had once been divided now worked side by side, their laughter echoing across the fields. It was a sight that warmed Ayo and Nika's hearts, but they knew their mission was far from over. Chief Dyke was still lurking, watching their every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Late one evening, as Ayo walked Nika home, an elder approached them in haste. "There is trouble," he whispered. "Chief Dyke is stirring resentment again. He claims that you two are using this peace movement to gain influence and overthrow traditions. He's calling for a village meeting tomorrow." Ayo clenched his fists. "We cannot let him undo everything we've built." That night, Nika's father advised them to stay calm. "The truth always prevails," he reminded them. "You must stand firm in your purpose. Let the village see that love, not power, guides you." The next day, the villagers gathered in the town square. Chief Dyke stood before them, his voice laced with authority. "This so-called peace is an illusion. These two want to weaken our traditions and take control. Can't you see what they are doing?" Murmurs spread through the crowd. Doubt crept into some faces, but others, remembering the kindness and unity Ayo and Nika had fostered, shook their heads in defiance. Nika stepped forward. "We do not seek power, only harmony. If helping our people work together is wrong, then let our actions speak for us. Have we not seen joy return to Umuahia? Have we not rebuilt what was once broken?" Ayo added, "Love is not a tool for power, it is the foundation of true strength. We cannot move forward if we hold on to hatred." A silence settled over the crowd as their words took root in the hearts of the villagers. Chief Dyke's grip on them was slipping, but he was not ready to surrender. He would find another way to disrupt the peace, and the storm was only beginning to brew. Despite Ayo and Nika's heartfelt words, Chief Dyke was not ready to relinquish his influence. That night, he gathered a group of his most loyal supporters in secret. "We cannot allow these two to change our ways," he said, his voice sharp with determination. "They are poisoning the minds of the villagers, making them forget the traditions that have guided us for generations. We must act before it is too late." The next morning, rumors began to spread. Whispers filled the marketplace. Some claimed Ayo and Nika sought to impose their own rule. Others said they wanted to dishonor the ancestors by disregarding the elders' authority. The division that had started to heal now showed signs of reopening. Ayo noticed the shift immediately. Villagers who had once greeted him with smiles now averted their eyes. Nika, too, sensed the growing tension when a woman who had once sought her. Mother's healing herbs refused to meet her gaze. It was clear that Chief Dyke's influence was strong, but they refused to let fear take hold. Determined to address the issue head-on, Ayo and Nika visited Elder Okafor, a respected figure known for his wisdom and fairness. "Chief Dyke is feeding the people lies," Ayo said. "If we do not counter his words, all our efforts will be in vain." Elder Okafor nodded thoughtfully. "Then you must show them the truth, not through words, but through action. Prove that love and unity are more powerful than deceit." With renewed determination, Ayo and Nika planned their next step. They would not allow Chief Dyke to divide the village once more. The battle for Amuahia's heart was far from over, and they were ready to fight for the love and harmony they had worked so hard to restore. The tension in Amuahia deepened as Chief Dyke's influence spread like wildfire. Doubt crept into the hearts of some villagers, and the sense of unity that Ayo and Nika had cultivated began to waver. The marketplace, once filled with cheerful exchanges, now carried an air of suspicion. Even the elders, who had begun to embrace the idea of a more harmonious village, hesitated to take a stand against Chief Dyke's words. One evening, as Ayo and Nika walked to the riverbank, they found a small group of villagers waiting for them. Among them was Obi, a young farmer who had initially supported their efforts. He hesitated before speaking. "Ayo, Nika, we want to believe in what you are doing, but Chief Dyke says you wish to weaken the authority of our traditions. We do not know whom to trust." Nika stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "Our goal has never been to erase our traditions, but to strengthen them through love and unity. What good are customs if they divide us and breed hatred?" Ayo added, "Think of the peace we have achieved in just a short time. Would you rather return to the days of conflict and mistrust? Our ancestors valued harmony. This is what we fight for." Obi and the others exchanged glances. Their expressions conflicted. "Then prove it," Obi finally said. "Show us that love and unity are stronger than division." Their challenge was clear. Ayo and Nika knew that words alone would not be enough. They needed to act, to demonstrate beyond doubt that love could heal the village. But with Chief Dyke watching their every move, they had to be careful. The real test of their faith and resilience was about to begin. Determined to prove that love and unity were stronger than division, Ayo and Nika devised a plan to bring the villagers together. They decided to host a festival, an event that would remind the people of the joy found in the community. In the past, Amuahia had celebrated the Festival of New Beginnings, a time when differences were set aside and people embraced one another. But in recent years, the tradition had faded, replaced by growing animosity. With the support of Elder Okafor, they spread word of the festival, inviting every household to participate. The idea was met with mixed reactions. Some villagers were eager for a return to unity, while others, still under Chief Dyke's influence, hesitated. On the day of the festival, the village square was decorated with vibrant fabrics, fresh palm fronds, and clay lanterns. The aroma of roasted yams and spiced soup filled the air as villagers arrived in small groups, some hesitant, others excited. Ayo and Nika welcomed everyone with open arms, ensuring that no one felt left out. The festival began with a storytelling session led by Elder Okafor. He recounted tales of past generations, emphasizing how love and collaboration had helped the village overcome hardships. Then came the dances, the laughter, and the feasting. Slowly, the walls of division began to crumble. Neighbors who had once refused to speak now shared plates of food, and children from different families played together without fear. But Chief Dyke was watching. Seated in the shadows, he saw his control slipping away. He knew that if he did not act soon, he would lose his grip on the village forever. As the festival continued into the night, he quietly left, plotting his next move. For Ayo and Nika, the festival was a sign that hope still burned brightly in Umuahia. They had won a battle, but they knew the war for their village's unity was far from over. The success of the Festival of New Beginnings had brought hope to Umuahia, but Ayo and Nika knew their battle was far from over. Chief Dyke's absence from the celebrations had not gone unnoticed, and whispers of his next move filled the air. Some villagers, still wary of change, remained loyal to him, fearing the consequences of defying tradition. Late one evening, Elder Okafor called Ayo and Nika to his hut. Chief Dyke will not stand idly by, he warned. He thrives on division, and he will find a way to turn the people against you again. You must be prepared. As if on cue, trouble arrived the next morning. A group of villagers, led by one of Chief Dyke's closest allies, stormed the marketplace. Ayo and Nika are deceivers. The man shouted, "They bring change, but at what cost? Our traditions are sacred, and they seek to destroy them." Fear rippled through the crowd. Some villagers stepped back, uncertain, while others defended Ayo and Nika. "They have only brought us peace." A woman countered, "The festival reminded us of who we are, a people of unity." But Chief Dyke had planned for this. He spread a dangerous rumor that Ayo and Nika had sought guidance from outsiders, betraying the village's customs. "If they succeed, our ways will be lost forever." He declared to his followers in secret, "We must stop them before it is too late." That night, Ayo and Nika sat outside, gazing at the moonlit sky. "We cannot let fear undo what we have built," Nika said firmly. "But how do we fight lies without falling into the same trap?" Ayo took her hand. "We show them the truth. We let our actions speak louder than Chief Dyke's words. If love can bring us this far, it can lead us through this storm." As the village stirred with tension, Ayo and Nika prepared to confront the greatest challenge yet, proving that love and unity could withstand even the strongest deception. The morning after Chief Dyke's rumors had spread, the air in Umuahia was thick with tension. Villagers whispered among themselves, their hearts caught between the love they had begun to embrace and the fear of losing their traditions. Ayo and Nika could see the uncertainty in their neighbors' eyes, the hesitation in their greetings. The village had come so far, yet Chief Dyke's influence remained strong. Determined not to let fear fester, Ayo and Nika visited the village square. Standing on the raised platform near the old baobab tree, Ayo addressed the gathering crowd. "My brothers and sisters, you have seen the changes love and unity have brought to Umuahia. We have shared meals, worked together, and begun healing old wounds. But now, we are faced with a choice. Do we allow fear to drag us backward, or do we stand firm in our newfound peace?" Murmurs spread through the crowd. Some nodded in agreement, while others still clung to their doubts. Before anyone could respond, Chief Dyke himself stepped forward, his expression cold and calculating. "Ayo speaks of unity, but at what cost?" He challenged. "Our ancestors built this village on sacred traditions. Would you throw them away so easily?" Nika, unwavering, met his gaze. "We do not seek to destroy our traditions, Chief Dyke. We seek to honor them by embracing what they were meant to represent: strength in community, kindness, and love." An elder, Mama Ezine, stepped forward from the crowd. She had been one of the first to experience Ayo and Nika's kindness. "We have suffered division for too long," she said, her voice firm. "Perhaps it is time to remember that our traditions should unite us, not tear us apart." A hushed silence followed her words. Chief Dyke clenched his fists but said nothing. The villagers were beginning to see through his deception, but he would not give up so easily. As the sun set over Umuahia, Ayo and Nika knew that the battle for the village's heart was far from over. But with every passing day, love was taking root and hope was beginning to bloom. In the days following Mama Ezine's bold words, the atmosphere in Umuahia remained tense. While some villagers had begun to open their hearts to change, others still clung to the past, torn between loyalty to Chief Dyke and the undeniable warmth that Ayo and Nika's love had brought to the community. The divide was evident, but Ayo and Nika refused to back down. Instead of challenging Chief Dyke directly, they decided to let their actions do the talking. They began organizing acts of kindness throughout the village, repairing broken fences, helping farmers tend their crops, and offering food to those in need. Nika, with her knowledge of herbs, assisted sick villagers, while Ayo gathered young men to restore the abandoned village well, ensuring fresh water for all. Word of their generosity spread, and slowly the walls of mistrust began to weaken. Even those who had doubted them found it hard to ignore the sincerity behind their efforts. One afternoon, Obi, the young farmer who had once questioned their intentions, arrived at Ayo's side as he worked on the well. "I see now," he admitted, wiping sweat from his brow. "You are not trying to change our traditions. You are simply reminding us what they were meant to be." But Chief Dyke was not ready to surrender. Frustrated by Ayo and Nika's growing influence, he gathered his loyal followers in secret. "They are deceiving you with their acts," he warned. "Ayo and Nika do not respect our ways. If we do not stop them now, we will lose everything that makes Umuahia strong." His words ignited fresh doubt in some hearts, but the truth was becoming harder to deny. The village was changing, and for the first time in years, it was changing for the better. As Ayo and Nika looked around at the people working together, at the smiles slowly returning, they knew that love had already begun to win, but they also knew Chief Dyke would not give up without a final fight. Chief Dyke could no longer ignore the tide turning against him. Ayo and Nika's acts of kindness had softened many hearts, and his grip on the village was slipping. He needed to make a decisive move, one that would solidify his authority once and for all. Gathering his most loyal followers under the cover of night, he devised a plan to publicly discredit Ayo and Nika before the entire village. At dawn, the sound of a drum echoed through Umuahia, signaling an urgent village meeting. One by one, the villagers assembled in the square, murmuring in confusion. Chief Dyke stood in the center, his presence commanding as always. "My people, we have been deceived," he bellowed. "Ayo and Nika pretend to bring unity, but they conspire against our sacred traditions. They claim to love our village, yet they threaten the foundation that has kept us strong." Gasps rippled through the crowd, but before the seeds of doubt could fully take root, Nika stepped forward. Her voice, though calm, carried conviction. "What tradition do we destroy, Chief Dyke? The tradition of fear, the tradition of division, or the tradition that once bound us together in love and respect?" Before greed and power took over, Ayo joined her, turning to the villagers. "We have done nothing in secret. Every act of love, every helping hand we have done openly for all to see. If that is betrayal, then let the village decide." Silence fell. Then, slowly, Mama Ezine stepped forward, her aged but firm voice ringing out. "We were once a people of unity. I remember a time when kindness was not mistaken for weakness. We must ask ourselves, are we truly better under fear? Or do we embrace the love that has begun to heal us?" More villagers murmured in agreement. The balance was shifting. Chief Dyke, seeing his influence crumbling, clenched his fists. He had played his last card, and it was failing. As the sun rose higher in the sky, the people of Umuahia made their choice not out of fear, but out of love. And with that choice, the village took its final step toward true harmony. The morning after Chief Dyke's failed attempt to discredit Ayo and Nika, a new energy coursed through Umuahia. For the first time in years, the people felt a sense of control over their destiny. Love had triumphed over fear, and the village was ready to embrace the harmony that had long been missing. However, Chief Dyke was not one to accept defeat easily. He withdrew into his compound, his mind racing with thoughts of revenge. But the villagers no longer looked to him for leadership. Instead, they turned to one another, eager to rebuild the bonds that had been severed by years of division. Ayo and Nika continued their work, helping to restore broken relationships within the community. They visited families who had long been estranged, mediating discussions that led to forgiveness and reconciliation. They encouraged the young men to work together in repairing the village roads and women to revive old market traditions that had once united them. One afternoon, as Ayo and Nika sat by the river, Chief Dyke approached them. His once proud posture was slumped, and his eyes carried the weight of defeat. "You have changed this village," he admitted, his voice tinged with bitterness. "But do not think that traditions can be erased so easily." Nika met his gaze, her expression calm. "We never wanted to erase our traditions, Chief Dyke. We wanted to remind the people of their true purpose to bring us together, not tear us apart." For a long moment, Chief Dyke said nothing. Then, with a heavy sigh, he turned and walked away. Ayo and Nika watched him go, knowing that the struggle was not yet over, but also realizing that the village had already chosen its path. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the sound of laughter echoed through the village square. Children played freely, elders shared stories, and families sat together, bound by a love that had once seemed impossible. The transformation had begun, and there was no turning back. A new dawn had arrived in Umuahia, and it was painted with the colors of love, unity, and hope. With the village moving towards unity, Ayo and Nika proposed an idea to solidify the bond they had helped rekindle: a grand festival celebrating love, forgiveness, and community. The elders, led by Mama Ezine, embraced the idea, and preparations for the Festival of Reconciliation began. For weeks, the villagers worked together, sewing colorful garments, preparing delicious meals, and decorating the village square with lanterns and flowers. It was a sight to behold. People who had once been divided now laughed and shared stories as they wove palm fronds and cooked side by side. Even those who had been skeptical, like young Obi and his friends, found themselves caught up in the excitement. "It has been a long time since we had a festival like this," Obi admitted to Ayo as they hung decorations. "Maybe we needed a reminder of who we truly are." On the day of the festival, the entire village gathered in the square. The air was thick with the aroma of roasted yams, spicy soups, and sweet palm wine. Drummers played lively rhythms, and dancers moved in harmony with the beat. It was a moment of pure joy, one that no one wanted to see end. As the sun began to set, Mama Ezine stood and called for silence. "Tonight, we celebrate not just our traditions, but the love that binds us," she said. "Let us always remember that unity is our greatest strength." To everyone's surprise, Chief Dyke stepped forward. He had been watching from the shadows, but something in his heart had changed. "I have been blinded by fear," he admitted, "but love has shown me the truth. I wish to walk with my people, not against them." A murmur spread through the crowd, then applause erupted. Chief Dyke's words marked the final step in Umuahia's transformation. That night, under a sky filled with stars, the village danced, laughed, and embraced the new era of love and harmony. The Festival of Reconciliation was not just a celebration, it was a promise. A vow that Umuahia would never again be torn apart by fear. And in the midst of it all, Ayo and Nika smiled, knowing their love had helped bring about this new beginning. With the Festival of Reconciliation behind them, the villagers of Umuahia were determined to preserve the unity they had rediscovered. Love and harmony had been rekindled. But Ayo and Nika knew that true change required effort beyond celebration. They began working with the elders to establish new traditions once that honored the past while embracing the future. One of the first initiatives was a communal farming project. In the past, land disputes had caused bitterness among families, with rivalries turning even the closest of neighbors into adversaries. Ayo suggested that instead of working separately, families could share the land and labor together, ensuring that no one in the village went hungry. At first, some hesitated, but Mama Ezine reminded them, "A village that eats together stays together." Encouraged by her wisdom, the villagers agreed. Nika, meanwhile, started a new tradition among the women. Every month, they would gather in the marketplace to share skills, from weaving and pottery to herbal medicine. This gathering strengthened the bonds between women of different families, bridging gaps that had once existed. Even Chief Dyke, though still adjusting to his diminished influence, found himself drawn into the village's transformation. One morning, he visited Ayo as he worked on the communal farmland. "I do not know if I will ever change completely," he admitted, his voice gruff. "But I see now that there is no strength in ruling alone. The real strength of a leader is in his people." Ayo nodded. "And strong people must stand together, little by little." The lessons of love and reconciliation took root in the hearts of the villagers. Where once there had been distrust, there was now cooperation. Where there had been division, there was now understanding. Umuahia was no longer just a village. It had become a family. As the days turned into weeks, Umuahia continued to flourish under the newfound unity. The village, once burdened by fear and division, now thrived with a spirit of togetherness. The communal farm yielded its first harvest, and the marketplace buzzed with renewed life as villagers bartered goods and shared laughter. One evening, as Ayo and Nika walked hand in hand by the riverbank, they reflected on how far the village had come. "Do you think this change will last?" Nika asked, watching the reflection of the moon on the water. Ayo squeezed her hand gently. "It will, as long as we continue to nurture it. Love is not just a feeling, it is a choice we must make every day." Their conversation was interrupted by the laughter of children playing nearby. It was a reminder of what they had fought for, a future where love and harmony prevailed over hatred and discord. The next morning, Mama Ezine called for a village gathering. Standing tall before her people, she spoke with the wisdom of age and experience. "We have witnessed the power of love to heal wounds and mend broken bonds. But we must never take this unity for granted. Every one of us has a duty to ensure that the peace we have found remains unshaken." Moved by her words, the villagers pledged to uphold the spirit of the Festival of Reconciliation. They agreed to meet regularly as a community, to address grievances openly, and to remind each other of the values that had brought them back together. Even Chief Dyke, who had spent years ruling through fear, found himself humbled by the transformation. Though he no longer held power in the way he once had, he chose to use his influence differently, offering advice to young leaders and guiding the village towards wisdom rather than control. As the sun dipped below the horizon that evening, the village of Umuahia stood stronger than ever. The love that had been rekindled was no longer just between two hearts. It had become the lifeblood of an entire community, a promise for generations to come. Despite the village's newfound harmony, challenges still lingered. Love had brought the people of Umuahia together, but the true test was whether that love could withstand hardships. A season of unexpected drought struck, and the communal farm, which had symbolized unity, now faced ruin. Crops withered under the relentless sun, and the village's food supply dwindled. The villagers, once hopeful, began to whisper anxiously among themselves. Old fears threatened to resurface, and tensions flared as some blamed others for the crisis. Ayo and Nika knew they had to act quickly before division returned. One evening, as the village elders met beneath the great Iroko tree, Ayo stood before them. "We did not come this far to let fear rule us again," he declared. "Love brought us together, and it will see us through this challenge. We must find a way to sustain ourselves and support each other." Nika stepped forward. "We can pool our remaining resources and share what little we have. No one should go hungry while another has enough to eat. Let us return to what truly matters, standing together. Encouraged by their words, the villagers rallied once more. Families opened their food stores, ensuring that even the poorest among them had something to eat. Those skilled in fishing spent more time by the river, while others traveled to nearby villages to trade for food. Though the drought persisted, the spirit of unity did not waver. The people of Umuahia learned that true love is not just about joy, but also about endurance in the face of hardship. As the first raindrops finally fell weeks later, relief washed over the village. They had survived not just because of nature's mercy, but because they had chosen to hold onto love even in the hardest times. As Ayo and Nika watched the rain fall from their hut, they knew that Umuahia's unity had been tested and had triumphed once again. With the drought finally over, Umuahia breathed a sigh of relief. The first sprouts of green returned to the fields, and the river swelled once more. Yet, the true victory was not just in the returning harvest, but in the resilience of the villagers. They had faced hardship together and had emerged stronger than before. Ayo and Nika took it upon themselves to ensure that the lessons learned during the drought would not be forgotten. They worked with the elders to create a village council, a group dedicated to maintaining peace, resolving disputes, and ensuring that no family was ever left behind again. The idea was met with enthusiasm, and soon, representatives from each household were chosen to serve. Among them was Chief Dyke. Though he had once ruled with fear, he now sought to contribute in a different way. "I spent years trying to control this village," he admitted in one of the first council meetings. "But true leadership is not about power, it is about service." His words earned nods of agreement, and for the first time in years, he felt truly accepted, not as a ruler, but as a fellow villager. Meanwhile, the village prepared for another celebration, one that honored the strength of their unity. This time, the Festival of Reconciliation would also mark a new beginning. Love had done more than mend hearts. It had transformed the very foundation of Umuahia. As the night of the festival arrived, the village square shone with lanterns, and laughter filled the air. Ayo and Nika stood side by side, watching as families embraced, children danced, and elders exchanged stories of the past. Their love had not only strengthened their own bond, but had inspired an entire community to stand together. Looking into each other's eyes, they knew that the journey was not yet over. Love was a continuous path, one that required patience, understanding, and the willingness to hold on even in the darkest of times. But for now, they could celebrate, knowing that the love they had fought for had truly bound the village as one. The morning after the Festival of Reconciliation, the village of Umuahia awoke to a new dawn, not just in the sky, but in their hearts. The air was filled with the echoes of joy from the previous night, a reminder of how far they had come. Ayo and Nika, standing on the edge of the riverbank, watched the golden sun rise over their beloved home, its warm glow a symbol of renewal. The newly established village council met for the first time under the great Iroko tree, with Chief Dyke now an elder in wisdom rather than in power. The council focused on securing the future of Umuahia. They discussed plans to reinforce the communal farms, improve trade with neighboring villages, and establish a tradition of mentorship for the younger generation. Love is more than a feeling, Mama Ezine reminded them. It is the foundation on which we build a better tomorrow. As the seasons passed, the fruits of their unity became evident. Families worked side by side on the farmland, and disputes were settled not with hostility but with understanding. The marketplace bustled with activity, and laughter became a common melody in the air. It was as though the land itself had blossomed in response to the love that now thrived within the village. One day, as Ayo and Nika walked through the marketplace, they were approached by a young couple, Ekin and Chika, who had recently fallen in love. "Your story inspired us," Ekin admitted. "We want to follow in your footsteps to love, to serve, and to help keep this village strong." Nika smiled, her heart swelling with pride. Then do so with kindness, patience, and unwavering faith. Love is a journey, and its rewards are endless. As the years unfolded, Umuahia remained a beacon of harmony, its people bound by an unbreakable love. Ayo and Nika's story became legend, a tale passed down through generations, a reminder that when love leads, peace and prosperity follow. And so, under the vast African sky, the village thrived not just as a place on a map, but as a home where love would forever reign. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the village of Umuahia. Ayo and Nika's story reminds us that love is more than a feeling. It's a powerful force that can transform lives and entire communities. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartwarming tales that celebrate love, unity, and tradition. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What's the most touching love story you've ever witnessed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We can't wait to read your stories. Stay tuned for more inspiring content, and remember, love always finds a way. Love you all.